What is Southern culture? Is it going to football games? Is it eating? Sometimes too much. Is it going to church? Is it about the weather being hot in December? Or is it about the people? Is it about them speaking with an accent? Saying yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, no sir? Is it about being the sweetest tea? I interviewed several Southern people with various ages, races, and backgrounds to find out.
My name is Willie Allen.
My name is Rhonda Will.
I'm Tristan Silva.
My name is Sarah Wynn.
I'm Eli Commons.
My name is Daya.
My name is Amani Harris.
I'm Melissa Bass, and this is Your South.
Very challenging.
What's it like? Well,
It's been really different.
Kind of restricted culturally because I'm Muslim and they don't really like us down there, or they didn't when I was there.
People that I have come in contact with are, I would have to say, very genuine, and they're good people, so I would say that I like it a lot.
I feel like I've constantly lived with a secret, under a microscope, etc.
So what's your secret?
Oh, I'm very gay.
I had what they call the Deep South in Louisiana, and you had certain people that didn't think that blacks should be equal to them. So every time you ran into one of those kind, you had a problem. Regardless of how nice you were, how you tried to act, they still had a problem with you being who you were.
I went to school with classmates from Hawaii, from Maine, from California, Texas, and just all over the country because their parents, being a scientist or engineer, what have you, got a job with Stennis Space Center with the space program, and so it was really, really interesting growing up in Picayune because it did give me a better worldview, I think, than a lot of people in Mississippi got that are my age because of the diversity of people that we had living there at the time.
Yeah, there are plenty of cool people around, but like I've grown up in a church and I get told constantly that my sexuality defines me, whenever in all actuality it's just something that happened.
My older sister and my mom did wear the hijab, and I saw their experiences at school and at the shopping center, and people weren't very nice. People would say mean things to them, and I could see the discrimination. It was kind of subtle, but sometimes it wasn't.
For the most part of my life, I went to elementary schools, middle schools, high schools that were predominantly white. So life for me was being the token black girl. I didn't really fit in with most of the black people that I went to school with, so I surrounded myself with white people. I never got in trouble, never experienced many of the things that other black students experienced. I experienced a lot of passive aggressive racism in a way and discrimination, but not so much outright. Nothing really discriminatory happened to me because all of my friends were white. So I guess life in the South for me has been being privileged in a way, not privileged.
Thinking about the answers I received, I had to ask, do things like racism, homophobia, and white supremacy define the South?
I don't know about if they define it as much as history tells us they do, but there definitely still is undertones. Like say there's a white girl and she likes a black guy. That'll never come to fruition because like her parents or her family won't accept it. And it's that's not direct, but it's so kind of frustrating and racist.
I think we have a lot of, have you ever heard of armchair quarterback? An armchair quarterback, somebody that sits in their recliner and watches the game and they're like, oh, you should have thrown it. Oh, why'd you pass when you should have, run the ball? Yeah, they think if they were playing, that they would be able to win the game. You call them armchair quarterback. I think we have a lot of armchair racists because they say a lot of things when they're sitting in their chair, but when they're actually faced with having to make a decision that's going to affect their conscience, they make the right decision. I think they say a lot of things just because they were taught to think this way, but when they're actually faced and confronted with a decision that's going to affect them directly and affect their conscience, they make the right decision.
I've come in contact with it a lot more here than I have when I've gone to other places. So yeah, I do.
Wait, what have you come in contact with more?
For example, like a debate trip that I went to 2 weeks ago, we went to Backyard Burger. It was very good, and I didn't notice, but one of our team members noticed that there were 3 guys sitting at another table, and they were neo-Nazis. And I felt like that was such a shocking moment for all of us, just because we're almost numb to the fact that this stuff exists. And I felt that like seeing these people in front of me was very gross, and it was gruesome. It was raw, and it was real to see that, and that really shocked me a lot.
Realizing that these people have been through many difficult situations, I wanted them to compare their own lives to reality television.
Across the South, on ranches and farms, at the local firehouse, from small businesses to the super speedways, good men are out there looking for the same thing. From small businesses to the super speedways.
I don't want to be a lone cowboy. I want to find that woman that every day I wake up and I feel like the luckiest guy in the world, because she's mine.
I'm Skipper Business. I make a living catching big old catfish, but I don't use a rod and reel. That's right. I use my hands and feet. How big is he? We call it noodling, Oklahoma style. There you go. But stick your hand in a hole, and you never know what you'll find. Could be a snake, a beaver, or a 70-pound monster.
Okay, there's so much crap in there, I can't find nothing. There's a panda.
You're gonna break
Garbage. Hey, that's a typewriter. Bar in the hole.
I don't believe in gun control. Come out here and I shoot my gun off my back porch sometimes. He kind of smells bad, so I don't sleep with him or anything. One of my friends, we got into it about the Confederate flag, or if you don't respect the South, you can go back to the North.
What'd you think about those?
Look, my husband has hunted since he was 4 years old, and he has never acted like anything in those pictures.
Yeah, pretty accurate in terms of the white people. Yeah.
The closest thing I saw was how like that girl laid on her makeup thick, but that was literally it.
The similarities, I think, is just the Southern tradition is still there.
Do you think it's problematic that most of those shows were about white people?
Well, when I was coming up, that's all we saw. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't a problem then. Now is a problem because our kids need somebody to relate to.
Yes, you can see that with even young girls in the new Moana movie, or Princess and the Frog, or even Brave if you want to get into redheads as well. They have very impactful things. In fact, just a personal story, I recently won Mr. JCJC, and I had this one homosexual individual come over to me. He recently come out of the closet, but he came out to me personally, and he came up to me and said, "Eli, I saw the results," and he started to get really teary-eyed. And he was just so happy that someone that was like him had won something like that. He was a freshman, so he's a year younger than I am. And he just hugged me and started crying a little bit. Like, he was genuinely, he was genuinely, I guess, happy. It brought hope almost to him that he isn't abnormal. Because that's something we have to constantly fight, is whether or not we are normal or if we aren't. A lot of people represent homosexuals as you have straights and then you have the gays, or the normals and the others.
I feel like it gives very different perspectives of the South, definitely. I mean, like, for example, Duck Dynasty, before the whole scandal of, the grandfather, I thought that it was, a really loving show, and I guess it looked into the South at a different way, of more like a loving family. Like I said, of that Southern culture of being respectful and, loving family and being there for each other.
Speaking of being there for each other, the recent election has caused division and fear for a lot of my friends, so I felt it necessary to ask about President-elect Donald Trump.
The underlying racist factor that is in the South will not be underlying anymore. It will come to the surface.
The people that do support him, not saying that all his supporters feel this way, but people have been acting out and using his win as a way to justify them saying things and doing things to people. And it's happened on our campus, so definitely his win has definitely affected the South.
It was the one where there was a white kid and all in fun again put a noose around, they're both on the football team, and so he put a noose around the black kid's head, and he's like, boat. Like, it's just not okay. Like, I don't really care if it was all in fun. Like, that's just...
There, but one guy comes in with a Make America Great Again shirt, and he's just saying, oh, we won, rada, 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 rada. Okay. And then I sit there and I say, Sonia, hey, I need to excuse myself, I need to go. And then he just looks at me and says, oh, look, somebody's a little butthurt because, you know, someone else didn't win.
No one's treated me directly, but one of my friends have. He was walking down the hall, and then someone was like, he called him the N-word and said, oh, I can call you that right now, right? Because Trump is president. And I thought that, no, that's not okay.
Whenever I talk about Trump to my friends here, they're like, oh, you're kind of overreacting, like it can't be that bad. But they've never lived there, and they don't know how it feels to be a minority, or for me, like they don't know what it feels like to be a Muslim in the South and to feel the hatred coming from different people and seeing that they really just don't like you.
Even though these Southern people seem like they have a lot to be upset over, they still find a way to be hopeful.
I mean, you know, a lot of it just depends on your personality, if you're a fighter and you want to fight for change. But if you just don't have the fight in you, you might be happier somewhere else, you know.
I understand why people want to leave the South. Since I moved here, I see that coexisting with different cultures and people with different backgrounds is possible. And when I realized that, I thought back to when I lived in Mississippi, and I felt kind of bitter that they just couldn't make it happen over there. There's definitely potential to make it a better and more accepting place, but it will definitely take a while with those certain mindsets.
The South is what it is because of the people.
As a nation, as the South, we will try to do better and try to begin to understand and relate and empathize with each other.
I feel like I need something new, I need something spontaneous, I need something that's a little more out there, a little more extravagant even. I need something that allows me to think for myself. I need freedom, I need liberty.
And honestly, with Donald Trump, I really, really, really hope that he knows what he's doing and he understands this politics stuff, and he does go out and say, I apologize, and that I do represent everyone in this country, because that's what we need. We need someone to represent us, everyone, and to be there for all of us. Because a united country and all these people working together is going to make a great one. And that is how we're going to make America great, if we have someone that can lead us like that.
But I think you get better.
You mean the South will get better as a whole?
Yeah. Like everything gets better as time goes on.
Call me bulletproof.